introduction. Thank you for being here today. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Owen Govender. I'm the head of school for the School of Health Sciences at Regenesys, and I'll be guiding you in this opening on handing you over to our teacher for this masterclass. It's really special to see such a good group gathered here today, and I'm grateful to each of you who have taken the time and to be here, a part of today's yoga session. So just to introduce our speaker, born in the United States, Dada Guna began his academic life studying mathematics and physics at the university and graduate level. And over time, that exploration expanded inward into a bit of psychology, meditation, and eventually into Zen Buddhist practice in his early 20s. His path then led him into Tantra Yoga through initiation by Ananda Marga from India while he was living in California. And after several years of volunteering, he committed fully to a monastic life, completing intensive yogic training at the monastery in Sweden, where he was later ordained. Since then, Dada Guna has taught and served across the world, spending over a decade teaching in Asia, establishing a spiritual center in East Russia, training future monks in Sweden, and offering teachings throughout Europe, Asia, and now in Africa as well. Today, he'll be guiding us through yoga practice and sharing from decades of study, services, and embodiment. Please take a moment for us to welcome Dada Guna, and thank you so much, Dada, for today's session. Over to you.
Namaskar, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. So this is the first class that I hope to be a weekly class. And the format I'm going to do is we will start with some simple exercises and progress gradually week by week into things that are a bit more complicated. But before we begin, I want to say a bit about actually what is yoga, because it's very often misunderstood, because yoga has been commercialized in the West and is thought of as generally a system of physical exercise. And the physical exercises in yoga are called asana. And asana means a position that you can hold for a period of time, which has an effect on the hormones in the body. The word yoga itself means unification between your unit consciousness and the infinite consciousness. So this unification process is a spiritual path. It's a fundamental lifestyle, and the practices associated with that lifestyle are a scientific way to expand your mind and consciousness so that you can discover yourself inside. The purpose of the asanas as part of the spiritual path is that the character of your thinking is related to the glands in your body. And so the loose name for this science is called biopsychology. It's the relationship between your psychology and your biology. And so, if you feel fear, for example, you all know it's somehow originating from this part of the body, the stomach area. Well, if there was some exercise you could do to relax that fear, that would be amazingly useful, not just for your meditation, but for your personal life as well. I mean, we all struggle with various emotions. But particularly in terms of meditation, if I'm trying to meditate and I have stress or fear or shyness or anger, the diaphragm doesn't move very easily. And if I can do some simple postures to relax those hormones, and over time allow me to have almost a conscious control of those hormones, that allows me to have a much better control of my psychology. And, the mind is what we're using to meditation. So generally speaking, there's a relationship between your hormones and your thinking. And it's almost like a cycle. The emotion, the hormones you have, they affect your thinking processes. But the opposite is also true. Your thinking processes affect the glands in your body. That's why, for example, if you watch a scary movie, you're staying comfortably in your house, not in a dangerous place at all. But when watching a scary movie, it triggers a certain thoughts in your mind. The imaginations of the scary scenes on the TV, it will stimulate the secretion of hormones in your body. And so the cycle goes in both ways. The thoughts can stimulate hormones to generate feelings. The feelings can stimulate certain sorts of thoughts. And this this ongoing movement of the cycle gives a consistency to the personality we have. And so it's not at all strange when you meet a person who was shy 2 years ago and then you meet them again after 2 years, that person is still shy. Even though shyness is fundamentally based on hormone, yet that hormone, the pattern of secretion of those hormones is something that's very consistent throughout our lives. And what we all find, that I'm sure you've experienced this, is that the patterns you see in your life repeat themselves, and you find yourselves in similar situations, but making the same mistakes. And the function of the asanas is to learn to balance and control those glands, those feelings. And so a shy person, as an example, after performing certain asanas, will have the sensation of not feeling shy. And they're able, within their internal sort of understanding and self-identity, separate, right, the persistent feeling of shyness, which has more or less always been a part of their personality, from who they actually are. So this was the purpose of the yoga postures, right? To, on the one hand, make the body flexible, stable, calm, peaceful. But on the other hand, to learn to control the influence of the body on the mind. Now, for those of you who have a little more advanced understanding of the relationship between the hormonal and emotional states in the mind, the hippocampus governs a lot of almost pre-wired sub-personalities that we have inside ourselves. And as you mature as an individual through the course of your life, especially as a child, but as you grow, you're in a process of integrating all these sub-personalities into the personality you call yourself. But that integration is, for the most part, not complete. And as we grow in the process of completing that integration process, yoga is amazingly useful at that. Because when you struggle with integrating yourself and controlling your emotions and thoughts, there's two essential points where you have a mechanism of control. One is the mind itself. If you can control the thoughts, then you can influence this cycle which is defining your personality, your thoughts, your feelings, your thoughts, your feelings. And so when we do meditation, which is the fundamental practice of yoga, yoga is essentially a meditation path. What you're learning to do is observe your thoughts without allowing them to cause a reaction inside of you. So you're sitting there meditating, something comes up in your mind, which it will. And that's not at all bad. That's you could almost say the purpose of meditation is to go through the things that you're ignoring inside of yourself. And the things that are coming up in your mind when you do meditation are exactly the circumstances that are going to come into your life eventually. And so learning to be calm, not to react to those things, to meditate your way through them, it is almost like a preparation for the situation in your life. When those things actually come to your life, you can also not react. The other point of control you have is the body, the hormonal level, and that's where asanas comes into play. If we can do postures that help balance, control, and regulate our emotional state and our hormonal state, then the reactivity will be very much delayed. You have pause. That pause is called freedom. It's a pause to allow your actual willpower to let you behave as you believe you should be, according to the person that you think you should be, not according to the sort of momentum of reactivity that sort of pushes us through situations in our life, almost as if we're not in control of things. So that was a brief introduction of the reason we're doing physical postures as part of the spiritual lifestyle. I think with every class, I will take time to explain a little bit more of the philosophy and the theory of the things we're doing, so that you learn something as you go on. Hopefully that inspires you to pick up the practice by yourself, which for me, coming to a class once a week is not such a good idea. I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's not helpful. Yoga is something that ideally you should have as a practice in your day-to-day life. Every morning you wake up in the morning, take a shower, and do your yoga practice before you start your day and eat your breakfast and go to work or go to university. And then once a week you come to a class like this one, or the in-person class somewhere else, and you can learn more about the practice, you can ask questions, and you can choose the yoga postures which suit you the most. Right? And what I mean by that is they suit the struggles you have on in your life, the things you have to work on for yourself. Because one of the problems with yoga class is that we're all going to do the same positions. But in your home practice, you're going to choose the asanas which are best suited for you and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so let's begin. And I'm going to begin with a very basic posture. It's probably almost, you would say, the most simple asana. And unfortunately, I won't be able to see you, which is the hard thing. I won't be able to correct you if you're doing it improperly. But for that reason, I'll try my best to explain with clear detail what you should do. And what I recommend they do is that I will just watch for a moment, allow me to demonstrate it a few times, and then you practice yourself and we'll do it together. Okay, so for now, just watch for a little bit. This asana is called the cobra in English, or Bhujanasana in Sanskrit. And when you're doing yoga, the universal rule is that when you breathe in, when you go backwards, you breathe in. When you go forwards, you breathe out. Okay, so you lie on your belly, you put your hands approximately underneath your shoulders, a little bit wider than your shoulders. And your forehead and your nose are touching the mat. Now, I'm going to breathe in and go up. So I inhale. I'm going to push with my arms. And you see, you don't want to lift your hips from the mat. You want your hips and almost your navel is still touching the mat so that you're bending your back from the small of your back. And you look up at the ceiling. And while you're doing this, you hold your breath in. And we're going to hold our breath in for 8 seconds. And then we're going to slowly exhale and go back down. Then you're going to repeat it. You're going to inhale, then go up. And exhale and go down. Okay, so we're going to do this 8 times. Everyone get into position and we'll begin. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Remember when you're going up to keep your navel on the ground, your hips on the ground, and to make it small to that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Now, as long as we're in this position, I'm going to demonstrate, and then we will try a slightly more advanced version that has a very similar effect, but has a stronger effect. This next asana is called Nokasana. The word nok means boat, so it's the boat pose. And the boat pose puts a lot more pressure on the navel area and the body. So it's not as relaxing and as calming as the previous yoga pose. However, it has a stronger effect, which is better for people with certain more acute issues with that part of the body. And in particular, whereas the first one was very good for fear and very good for something like anger, this next one has a much stronger effect for both fear and particularly for shyness. The reason it has a stronger effect for shyness is because the emotion of shyness is caused by an under-secretion of hormones, whereas anger and fear are caused by an over-secretion of hormones. And so the second one, while it is stretching the glands, it's also pressurizing them more. That increased pressure on the glands really helps with any emotional problem that arises from the under-secretion of hormone. So you want to grab your ankles, and you don't have to keep your knees touching, but they shouldn't spread too wide apart. Okay? So you inhale, and you pull yourself up like this, and you look up as before. And you'll see this is a much more challenging pose in terms of physical strength and flexibility, but it also puts a lot more pressure on that part of the body. Excellent. Okay, let's try this pose together. So everyone, lying on your belly, grab your ankles. Then take a breath so that your respiration is in the right place. And 3, 2, 1, inhale. Exhale. Now relax for a moment. Do another one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So with both of those postures, the system is to repeat it 8 times, and each time you go up to hold it for 8 seconds. So 8 times for 8 seconds. The second one I didn't do 8 times because it's a new class, and I'm concerned that maybe a lot of people are finding this difficult, and I'm not able to see. But as we progress, his path will become more easy for you. So periodically through the yoga class, we do what is called shavasana. Shavasana means the corpse pose or the relaxation pose. And when you're doing yoga, you never want your prana, means your breathing, to become too heavy. And so every few poses, we're going to relax. And when you are doing the relaxation pose, pay attention to what was the effect on your body. Because what will happen over time, if you pick up a yoga practice over the years, you practice diligently, you'll develop a kind of intuition about yourself. Intuition is the result of the practice of your life and the theory that you learned. When you put these things together, after some time, you'll start to just be able to know, I feel like this yoga pose is what I need to do right now. This is the medicine for the condition of my body at this moment. And when you get to that point, then you're getting to the point where you're transcending the need for an actual yoga teacher. And you may still want to come to yoga class for the enjoyment of it, to learn some new things. But the most important thing to learn in yoga class is the flow of doing a asana, a yoga practice, and just how to do the practice yourself. Okay, so to do the relaxation pose, you lie on your back and you keep your feet about shoulder width apart. So you put your arm by your side, your palms facing upwards, and breathe deep. So you breathe in slowly and deeply, and exhale slowly. And when you're doing this, be aware of the sensations in your body, in particular, the movement of your diaphragm. Notice if there's restrictions, if it's moving easily. And when you feel the restriction, with your mind and your breath, try to consciously make it so the diaphragm moves very smoothly. You'll probably notice that when you're breathing at first, the diaphragm is not really moving smoothly. It's almost like it goes and then it pauses and then it kind of, how I can say, it has a skeletal movement to it. There's as if it's snagging on something, while it's trying to move it. Just gradually make that so that the movement of the diaphragm when it goes in and out is smooth and continuous the whole way. And the other thing to pay attention to is the emotional feelings you have in your stomach area, just in your chest area. These are two very large emotional centers. Okay. When you sit up from the Shavasana, the general practice is to roll up on your side and push yourself up with your arms in like this, which is more relaxing. You know, of course, you could just go like this, but your body will become very peaceful when you're lying down. Okay, so the next yoga posture we'll do is called Yoga Mudra. And the reason I like doing Yoga Mudra, this is a forward bending posture after the backward bending postures, is it creates a balance in the body, both in your emotional system, but also in your spine, and in your breathing system. Because a forward bending asana, the whole position is with the breath out, whereas a backward bending asana, the position where you're holding your breath in. So Yoga Mudra is, for me, a posture which creates a lot of calmness inside it. And one of the reasons is that back when your breath is in, your awareness is sort of enhanced. And it's externalized. When your breath is out, you can observe this in yourself. Your awareness is more internalized. And so when you do an asana where you're holding your breath out and you're holding the body, and it internalizes you, and that has a calming effect on the mind. And so if you're feeling scattered or anxious, forward bending asanas will cause a more peaceful feeling. Whereas if you're feeling tired and lethargic, backward bending asanas is going to give you more energy. Okay, so you begin, you hold your right hand, your right wrist, you hold your left hand, like so. And you sit straight, breathe in, and then when you breathe out, you go down, you keep your spine as straight as you can. And if you can make it, you rest your forehead on the ground. You hold for 8 seconds. And then you breathe in and you slowly come up. Now, for those of you who are flexible, if you prefer, you can sit in lotus posture, like so, when you're doing this asana. It doesn't give significantly more benefit, but some people find that it actually is more comfortable to do it this way because you're more stable in lotus posture than sitting with your legs crossed. But as far as the benefit of the asana, both ways of sitting are equally good. Okay, so everyone cross your legs and sit straight and grab your right wrist with your left hand. Take a deep breath in. And then as you go down, exhale, keeping the spine straight. Resting your forehead on the ground. Make it that far. You can't make it that far, it's no problem. And then inhale. While you're inhaling, you're coming up. Then take a breath. Inhale again. Exhale, going down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. Inhale again. And going down, exhale. Inhale. Come up. Let the breath out. Breathe in. And exhale. Inhale. Up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go down. Inhale. Come up. Exhale. Now, with those repetitions, when I was in the vertical position, I was taking one extra breath. And you don't have to do that. You can just breathe out when you go down, breathe in when you come up, breathe out when you go down. But the important thing is that when you do asanas, you don't find that you're running out of breath. And so if you're just doing it where you exhale when you go down, inhale when you go up, and then immediately exhale when you go down, if you find that when you're doing that, you're getting winded, you're not breathing well enough, then when you're in the upward position, take an extra breath. Breathe one extra time. But when you're in the downward position, don't breathe extra. Just hold your breath out and then come back up. Okay, so the resting position is the starting position. So here's the resting position. If you need to take an extra breath, you can take an extra breath in this position. So let's try a few without an extra breath. Okay, so grab your hand behind your back, breathe in. And breathe out, go down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Okay, good. So let's do a brief relaxation, and then we'll do a standing pose. Lie on your back, feet shoulder width apart, palms facing upwards, and breathe deep. Okay. Roll over on your side and then stand up. So this next pose is called the arm and leg posture. In Sanskrit, it's called Paschimottanasana. And it's a sequence of movements. And for those who are familiar with sun salutation, it will seem similar, but we're going to skip the middle part of the sun salutation. And I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see me as much as possible. So just observe one time. Take my hands and you inhale. And then exhale to the left. You inhale. You exhale on those rhythms. And when you do this, you want your arm to go vertical. You're kind of like, as if you're hanging from a bar almost, with that vertical arm. As you inhale, you're going to exhale, you're going to go forward. You exhale, and you go down, and you clip the ground when you can. You bring your head into your legs. And you inhale, then you go back. And you exhale. So that was one repetition. We're going to do it 8 times, just like that. And then this yoga method for bench was the sticks behind feet. Same. Okay? All right, let's begin. Inhale and bring your arms up. Exhale, go to the left side. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Touch the floor. You head towards your knees. Try not to bend your knees more than necessary. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Put your arms up. Exhale. Go to the left side. Inhale. Exhale, go to the right side. Inhale. Exhale, go down. Inhale. Go back. Keep inhaling. Hold the breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. To the left. Inhale. Exhale. To the right. Exhale. Down. Inhale. Going back. Next. Inhale. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Going down. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Going forward. inhaling, hold the breath in, go back. Exhale. Okay, last one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Go back. Exhale. Okay. Lie down on your back again and relax. The relaxation that we're doing between yoga poses should be 30 to 60 seconds long. But if you feel tired, obviously you can do it longer. If I will do one posture for stretching and one posture for twisting. And then we'll finish with the yoga, we'll do some short meditation, and there'll be time after for if people have some questions or comments they want to say. Okay, there's something. So let's do a static pose. Static poses are poses where you don't move with your breath, you just hold it for a while. And we'll do, the one we'll do is twist. I'm going to demonstrate it a number of ways according to, you choose according to your body flexibility and the flexibility of your knees and things like that, whatever you can do. So a simple way to do it is you can just be not touching the wall, but close to a wall, and you put you put a knee up, right, and then you push this arm over the knee, and then with your hand you're pushing against the wall like this, okay, and then you can twist yourself. And depending on your capacity to twist, you adjust the angle of your leg. Okay, so if you can't twist very well, you move your leg this way, then you don't have to twist as much. Right? And if you're really bad at twisting, you can sit parallel to the wall and just push like this way. Okay, so you can start like that. As your flexibility of your spine increases, and move further this way. You can also do that standing if you prefer, with same bits, but sitting is better. But you can stand parallel to the wall and just push a little bit like this. And if you're better at twisting, you can slowly angle yourself away from the wall. And then you can twist more in this way. And when you're twisting, your neck, you're almost trying to look over your opposite shoulder when you twist. And although it's not so easy, as much as possible, while you're twisting, keep your spine straight. Okay, don't sort of hunch over while you're twisting. Now, for those of you who are a bit more flexible, you can sit like this, and you sort of. I'll show you. I'm sitting on my foot. You see, you sit on your foot like that, and if I put my right leg over my left leg like this, then I put my left arm on the opposite side of the leg like this, and then I can grab my knee. And you can reach your arm and twist like this. And while you're twisting, breathe as deeply as you possibly can. Twisting asanas it's like an exercise for your lungs. When you're twisting, it's hard for your lungs to expand. And so for people who have weak lungs, which is a much more common problem than most people realize, it's not a language that we use in the West very often, so you have a weak lung. But in Chinese medicine, it's a very common diagnosis. Right? Your heart-lung system is not strong. And so this is one of the medicines for people who have a weak heart-lung system is you're twisting, and while you're twisting, you twist as much as you can, and you really concentrate on making sure you're breathing deeply. Of course, the twist also has a fundamental benefit with the spine, and it removes the calcification of the spine. Now, one last example of how to do this posture, for those, if there's some people who are very flexible in the audience, if my right leg is on the top, right, I can reach around with my right leg from the other side and grab my right leg, like so. And then with my left arm, I can put it in that position. And this is the full twisting asana. You do it this way. Okay, so now I've demonstrated many options for you. Choose one, or you can try it for both. When you do one side, you hold it for 30 seconds, and then you do the other side. And then we repeat it so that we do each side 4 times. Okay, so I'll demonstrate various ones while repeating. So choose a side. It doesn't matter if you start twisting to the right, twisting to the left. It's irrelevant. Just make sure you alternate back and forth. So let's start. Okay, so I'm going to twist to my left. Then I put my right leg up and my left arm pushing against my right knee. And then I put my right hand on the wall. And I try to be straight, try to breathe. You can hold this for 30 seconds. And as you're holding it, right, you'll find that, oh, I can twist a little bit more. I can twist a little bit more. And that's good, but don't hunch over while you. Just keep breathing deeply in and out, slowly as you can, as deeply as you can. Okay. Now switch sides. And again, if you want to do a different one than I'm doing, you can try the various. Again, you can give four examples of how to do the twist. You can try other ones. Okay, so now I'm twisting to the left side, so my left knee is up, and my right elbow is pushing against my left knee, and my left hand is against the wall. Okay. Now switch to the other side. Switch. I'll do a different one just to demonstrate. So now you're twisting to the right again, and so you're twisting to the right, with your right leg is up and your left elbow is pushing against your right knee. Now, if you're not able to do these postures perfectly, don't worry. You know, the general principle of spirituality is that there's nothing bad. You know, doing a posture wrong is better than not doing a posture. You're still going to get some benefit. And remember that the purpose of yoga isn't to get into the position. The purpose of yoga is the effect it has on our emotional system and the flexibility and health and resilience of the body, the strength, the nervous system, the improved digestion, you know, all these benefits. And you'll find a lot of such sites. A lot of yoga schools, they focus on doing very complicated exercises. And the focus of them is just, can I do the posture? Not, is there any benefit to this posture? And they'll get themselves into a posture and just hold it for a few seconds, just to demonstrate, oh, I did it. There's very little benefit to doing that. You know, you'll notice that we're repeating postures repeatedly because that's the system if you want to have the proper effect on the glandular and nervous system. Good science. I'll demonstrate the standard version. other side. Last time. Crystal to the right. Last one. Crystal to the left. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right into the last asana because afterwards a little bit of a long relaxation pose. So the last one is the head to knee posture. And you start out lying on your back with your arms above your head. You're going to take a breath, and then as you exhale, you're going to go up and touch your toes. So you breathe in, exhale, and you try to keep your spine straight as long as you can. Then you hold this position for 8 seconds. And you see I'm squeezing my big toes with my fingers. And then you inhale. You go back slowly. Take a breath. Okay, so everyone get in position. Inhale. And exhale and go up. And you become straight. And as you go down, your spine straight for as long as you can. So now, some of you might find that this sitting up is difficult for you. If that's the case, then you can just do this part. You can start from this position, exhale, go down, inhale, and come up. Or you can sort of push yourself up, your arms to go, whatever you prefer. You know, like I said, if you can't do the posture properly, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You still get the benefit, even if it's not done perfectly. Okay? So inhale, exhale, up. Grab your toes and squeeze the big toe between your fingers, between your thumb and your knee. Inhale. Exhale. Up. Forward. Grab your toe between your thumb and your knee. Inhale. Exhale. Up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, good. So, when you complete your Asana practice, and when you do it at home, you don't have to do all the ones I demonstrated. I recommend, especially if you're short for time, choose 3 poses. Each pose will take you 2 to 5 minutes maximum, including relaxation training. And so, to do the asanas, 15 to 20 minutes is sufficient time. If you don't talk much and you focus on it. But after you finish your practice, you'll do a self-massage, and then you'll do a longer relaxation pose. You know, the longer relaxation pose can be at least 3 minutes and up to 10 minutes long. And you will find that doing this asana practice with the relaxation pose, even though it costs you 15, 20, 30 minutes in the morning, you will get this time back in terms of your energy level and you probably won't have to sleep as long once you get established in the practice. So you'll get this time back. I don't think I don't have time for yoga. The time will recover itself. Okay, so to start your massage, you rub your hands together. This is not as important in the summertime because your hands are probably already quite warm. But you're warming up your hands and also you're kind of cleansing them a little bit. Now, to start the massage, I'm going to come closer so you can see me better. You take this part of the thumb, the palm, the base of the palm where the thumb meets it. I don't know what it's called actually, this muscle. And you're gonna push it into your eyes, and rub your eyes back and forth. And you close your eyes. And so you're massaging your eyes. You really want to push nicely and sort of squish your eye from one side to the other side, and the eyelids scrunching up. And when you do this, you'll see very interesting patterns in your visual cortex. I can do that for a little bit and open your eyes again. Okay. Then go like this with your hair, massaging your scalp and those muscles that are there. You can focus on your temples, especially if you're prone to headaches, and behind the ears. Then you take your finger and put it, you can see that I can't really see. I'm going around the ear, that little channel being around the ear, and down inside, then pulling on the ear lobe like this. So you feel it stretching out the inner ear when you do like this. Okay. And then massage the jaw on the side. Okay. And now this beard is a little bit of a pain in the butt for demonstrating. I'm going to take my thumbs, I'm going to push them into the space underneath my jaw on each side. This is the location of the largest lymph nodes that are in the body. And a lot of what we're doing yoga is we're circulating lymph throughout the body, which is a very, very important fluid. And afterwards, we're going to massage the glands, but especially the lymph glands, the lymph nodes. You're going to massage them. And so this is the biggest tool. So you take your thumbs and you sort of push them up this part of the thumb. And it's pushing up into the body of the jaw. It's not just in the front under the jaw, it's under the jawbone, but towards the back side, where the underside of the jaw meets the neck, just in front of that, on the left and right side. So after that, you massage here. The throat has actually a very large component. They're all associated with the thyroid and parathyroid glands. They have this, they do a lot of stuff on particularly with regulating metabolism and complexion. And for a lot of men, at least, if you have an enlarged Adam's apple, that's an indication of which of certain asanas that should be prescribed for you. And next, we're going to massage the back of the neck here. Then move over to the shoulders. Okay, then just do one at a time. So massage your arm. And actually, it's better to put your hand, roll up your sleeve if you want to, or put your hand up your shirt, because the secretions that your body made, the oils that came out while you're doing asana, they're very beneficial to the skin. And it's good to sort of massage them back into the skin. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm turning my hand with the direction of, okay, maybe you guys don't have much hair on your forearms, so I do, but in the direction of the hair follicles. Then massage your fingers in the palm of your hand, in the back of your hand, and this big muscle of the thumb. Now, on the other side. Oh, so The armpit. This is also a very large lymph gland in this area, so it's good to massage that. Then we switch to the other side. Okay, then I'm rubbing the small of my back, lower back. People frequently have a lot of tension there, and you can do sort of this kind of beating massage on these muscles. Now, the spot that people store the most tension is underneath the shoulder. It's not like you have a lot of tension here in this trapezius muscle area, but it's kind of hard to demonstrate with me. You know, if I want to massage this shoulder blade, I want to put this arm across. What that's going to do is it's going to pull the shoulder blade over. So if I take this arm and put it across my body, that pulls the shoulder blade out of the way. Then I can access those small muscles that are under the shoulder blade. You know, and you're very likely finding they're very sore. And when you're doing your massage at home or even now, if you find some spot that is sore and needs more attention, give it more attention. You know, even if you neglect giving massage to another part of your body, because that's the space that needs attention. So if you have a lot of pain here, then after your yoga practice, take time to massage this area of your body. You'll find it makes you feel a lot better. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side. I pull this one across, and I reach over, massage this spot. If you have trouble to reach your hand over you can also push it like this, to reach your arm behind your back, either from this side or from this side. You can get a tennis ball, or maybe a softer ball, or take a 2-liter soda bottle and fill it with warm water, and you can sort of lie on the ground and roll, you know, so that your chest is toward the ceiling and your back is on the yoga, and the ball is underneath your back, so the water ball's in your back, and you can roll it around, put it on the sensitive spot to massage that area if you can't reach it yourself. Okay, so next, we're going to massage our internal organs, and the proper way is to sit like this, if you're able to. So my feet are on top of each other, like this. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my hands and you can see this probably. I'm going to push them exactly where my navel is. I'm going to take these fingers together, and not to the side, just there, and push them inside like that. And my thumbs are sort of on the side, like so. Okay, so for me, actually, it's my 4 fingers in each hand, they're touching the front of my spine. And there's, you know, your intestines sort of move around, so there's space for your fingers to go through. And when you do this, you exhale. You know, if your diaphragm is full, of course you can't push in, but if you exhale, you can find it. And people who have trouble with this, what I've noticed is that they're usually have a lot of anxiety in this area, and so they can't relax this part of the body properly. But if you can relax it, you'll find that it's quite easy to put your fingers inside, and then you can move them back and forth. You know, and you know, your internal organs are here, and I know it may seem weird at first, but it's your body. It's good to be acquainted with it. And also, of course, if your bladder is not empty, this will put pressure on it. So it's good to use the toilet if necessary. Okay, and once you've done with that, you're going to move on to the hip flexors. These right here. Now, I didn't do any stretches with hip flexors, and usually I do in a yoga class because for people who are new to yoga meditation, the flexibility of the hips is a lot of source of bodily pain when doing meditation, and it's it's the most common early obstacle for those doing meditation is pain in the hips and the knees. So developing flexibility here is really important. But next week we'll talk about that some more. Massage your thighs, beneath it up. Massage the hamstrings. Now again, here's some lymph glands, but also the hip has lymph glands, and on both the back side of the knee and under the kneecap. So with this hand, I'm sort of going under the kneecap, pushing it and squeezing like that, and at the same time, with my other hand, I'm pushing the underside of the knee. Creating the calf muscle. Now, the calf muscle is kind of unique in the body. It pumps blood back to the heart from the toes, and that's why one of the reasons why it's not good to become excessively sedentary, because the circulation system doesn't function properly, both for the lymph and for the heart. Yeah, the heart more in the lower extremities, because the gravity is fighting its gravity, and the calf muscle works for this. You'll find the calf muscle is generally speaking the most sensitive muscle in the body to massage. And I don't know what the muscle's called, the shin muscle. And okay, the bottom of the foot. See. Goes. This side, the knee. This is actually a very common thing that we've been finding. It's to stimulate the nervous system. They're just strengthening their body with their brain system. Okay, so massage is finished. It doesn't have to take so long. You can make it longer or shorter according to the time you have. But like I said, don't neglect the lymph glands, and any place you have some pain or discomfort, give it extra attention. Now we're going to do a long relaxation pose for about 5 minutes. So get comfortable, and it's best not to fall asleep so you can focus on your breathing during this. It's a very meditative thing to do. And you want to also sort of, in the psychological sense, you're absorbing the effect you've done through the yoga postures. Okay, so put your hands, palms facing the ceiling, feet shoulder width apart. Take a very deep breath to sort of prime your lungs. Exhale. Now just breathe slowly and deeply. And I hope you feel that your breath is now much more relaxed and easy than when you began the Alpha class. With each breath, try to make it slow and deep. Don't become unconscious. Be really aware. Watch your thoughts, watch your feelings. See the relationship, how they affect each other. And be very intentional about the movement of your diaphragm. Okay, sit up. And cross your legs. You will do 2 minutes meditation before we stop. Now, I was planning to sing kiirtan. It's sort of the singing of a mantra, but I don't think it will work because I have the microphone here, and I think you only hear my voice and not the guitar. So we'll solve this problem for next week. For now, let's do some quick meditation because I've gone over time. I apologize for that. I have to put a clock so I can see the time. Sit straight, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Now when you breathe in, imagine you're sitting on top of a mountain. You're the only person. In your mind, you feel that you're sitting on the mountain and the grass is green, soft. The sky above you is blue. The air is refreshing. You feel so peaceful here on the mountain. You want to imagine it as if that's your reality. Your life is just you sitting there on the mountain. Feels. But the air on the mountain is very special. It's full of consciousness. It's full of love. You're sitting there on top of a mountain, surrounded by love, surrounded by consciousness. And when you breathe, this air fills your body. You become full of love, full of consciousness. You're sitting there all alone, full of consciousness, and surrounded by consciousness. Now when you breathe in your mind, repeat Avana. When you breathe out, repeat Kevana. This mantra means that everything is consciousness. Everything is an expression of consciousness. You breathe in Avana. You breathe out Kevana. Bhavana. Kevana. And you just keep doing that with every breath. Any thoughts or feelings that come, observe them, watch them come and go. And if you get distracted by them, they make you forget what you're doing. Just return to the mountain. Feel the consciousness around you. Feel the consciousness inside yourself. And then start breathing the mantra again. Every breath. Bhavana. Kevala. Everything is an expression of consciousness. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. Our class has come to an end. And if you want to go, you're free to leave. And I don't know if the host wants to say something now.
Thank you, Dada.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so I'll see everyone next week. I'm sorry I didn't leave time for questions. It was on my end. I didn't budget the time properly. For those who do have questions, maybe they can set up some way where they can send messages to some kind of WhatsApp group or something like that. And I kind of reply or address them in the next class. So if it's a personal question, maybe I can just reply to the message. Or if it's something that I think is good to share with the class, I can discuss it in class next week. So, okay. Namaskar, everyone. And have a good week. See you again soon. And please, do yoga every day in the morning time. And see how it goes. Choose some of the postures I showed you, 2, 3, 4 of them, according to time, and do the practice. And I'll see you again next week. Okay.